just using some sketch pencils by Prismacolor and just a basic sketchbook. And I am going to start by very lightly with my pencil, just drawing almost like a pear shape, which is going to become the body of the rabbit, and we're going to be looking at the rabbit from its back. From kind of the side on the left, I'm going to bring up a line kind of straight and then over, up, diagonally down, connect that. That is going to become kind of the neck and chest. And then I'm going to start drawing an oval shape, which is going to become the head of the rabbit. So even though I have a lop and love to draw and paint lop rabbits, this particular rabbit is going to have up ears. So I'm going to, on the side of the head there to the right, start to draw some lines kind of coming out and shape those into the rabbit's ears. And then as I kind of define that shape, I'm going to draw just a little part here of the inside of the ear. So I'm going to keep bringing this line up and around, and just know as you're sketching, feel free to find your own style. I describe my style as sort of sketchy. I erase often if I have to, that's okay. And I like to play around with just different lights and darks and mark making, which we'll kind of talk about in a minute. So for this back ear here, I just erased a little bit, and then I'm going to start bringing that ear kind of up, following a similar shape as the first ear, but just lifting it up a little bit more so you can kind of see them staggered from the side viewpoint of the rabbit sort of looking around. So as I kind of define this ear, let's define the face a little bit more if you need to. I'll put a nose in here that just kind of helps with proportion, I think. Thinking about where that nose goes is pretty crucial on a rabbit. So next I'm going to just kind of define the body a little bit more. I brought it out and then bring in that shape of the tail down there on the bottom. And as I'm drawing, I just keep my pencil really loose, light. I'm not pressing super hard in case I do need to erase. And like I mentioned before, I'm a very sketchy drawer in the sense that I like seeing all those kind of little overlapping lines when I'm sketching like this. And oftentimes I'm sketching to paint to figure out poses and things I like. So this, it's just a sketch, not a fully rendered drawing at this point. So I'm hopping back up, defining the nose a little bit more, and then I'm going to draw in the eye. I think, again, that's a really staple of a rabbit, getting that shape of the eye and that scale. So it's kind of drawing like a little parentheses up and over the top and then down at the bottom. So I just go ahead and take my pencil at this point and just fill in the eye because it will be dark anyway. And then just tap out a little highlight with my kneaded eraser and then fill it in a little bit more. And then I'll just kind of start to take my pencil now and just kind of start to define some of those other little areas around the eye, for example. And then maybe starting to darken some of the areas where there would be shadows, for example, between the two ears to sort of differentiate those a little bit more on the inside of the ear. And then this is where you can just play around with some different mark making. I encourage you to keep your pencil nice and sharp so that you can have those nice crisp lines, but pay attention to where you want things to be dark, where you want middle values, where you want lighter values, and then you're basically going to start just layering up these little lines with your pencil, and then pay attention to the different areas on the rabbit so that you can pay attention to what direction the fur might go, and this is going to help it look more like the rabbit. And as you're sketching, play with style. I tend to like to stylize based on reality, meaning obviously this is a rabbit, we can tell this, but I like to play around with other things. I mean, that's the part of getting to be an artist, that you have that artistic expression and you get to translate that in how you make your marks on your paper. So you could try to stylize more, you could try to make it a little bit more realistic, perhaps you'd rather put some color into this. So at this point, just be creative and have fun with finishing out the rabbit. You can see too, like I added some little whiskers and just starting to continue that detail. If it's helpful for you, you could definitely look at a reference photo. I think that's really helpful, especially when I start drawing animals and thinking about different poses, and I'm not used to thinking about those poses or how an animal might look a certain way or from a certain angle or direction. So I think that can be really helpful when you're beginning. But for something like this, because it is so simple and we started with some basic shapes, I think it's fairly easy enough to kind of make up the fur and kind of shading on your own. So earlier I'd given that little ground, that the rabbit is sitting on. Often I'll do that if I'm sketching something. So just, for fun, because I feel like it, I'm going to just add a little shadow on this rabbit. Now I could shape it more to the rabbit, but again, this is pretty basic sketch, so I'm just going to do like kind of a lengthy oval shape. And then I have a 6B pencil, which is a really dark pencil. I'm starting to kind of fill in that shadow, and that's just going to give kind of a pop of contrast. And here I have a blending stump that you could use to just kind of soften that shadow up just a little bit. I will mention it's always better to use something like this or a tissue versus your finger, just because if the oil's in your finger, it gets it really smudgy. So just optional, something you can do if you want to. Adding just a little bit of texture too in the background, purposefully leaving some pencil strokes, maybe sort of look like wood grain or something, tabletop. I don't know, add a little bit more detail, I could keep going with it too, but sometimes with sketches I like to keep them just simple, even if they're sort of unfinished. Like I said, often sketching for me translates into painting, so maybe later I'll make a painting out of this rabbit. And so I think it looks pretty good to me. Let's go get Luna and see what she thinks about this rabbit. Oh, I'll sign it too. Put my initials down there.